So let's take it the next step further. So you go through all this stuff and the customer decides, hey, this sounds like I want that special, or I want that deal, or the numbers look good. I want to get this thing done. What happens when they finally sign the contract, and what do they expect at that point going forward?
Well, if they're just doing a price lock, which takes 10% down of the contract total,
Okay.
that does a price lock, which holds the price firm for a year, which is fantastic, especially with material pricing moving up
I
and
can
down
attest to
all
that.
the time.
Yes.
If they actually want to try to, go to the next step and get it into the queue for scheduling, getting whatever first step we're doing. For instance, if we're doing ground prep, concrete, and building, your first line that you go into is ground prep. And you need green lights in order to do that. So you need first and second payment made, which is about half of the contract total. But that gets you ground prep, the concrete, and also the materials ordered for the building. But you also need a permit, and a copy has to get to us in order for you to go into that queue. So sometimes in certain places like the city of Duluth, we're required to pull the permit on those, on most basic garage projects. But if you get out in St. Louis County or Douglas County over in Wisconsin, something like that, we can help you with the permit application. And many times, if you've already gotten that, made a call for the paperwork, we can help fill that out while we're out doing our estimate with you.
Super.
And that's free too. But we do need a copy of the permit once it's approved in order to get you into that queue. So those items will get you the half down, the contract signed and accepted, and the permit copy will get you all the way up to a few weeks from the building going up. So
very good.
And then another big payment gets you the building built and gets you on the 2-week schedule when you come up on it, and then a final payment.
Okay. So when a customer sits down with you, do they stay with you right through the final nail in the building, or how does that all work?
Some do and some don't. Some people, since you have a rapport with them, they want to work through you to find out scheduling issues and that sort of thing. They can call the production coordinator right at Economy Garages and get that information. But some of them want to have their salesman, I don't know what you call it, hold their hand through the project, and which is just fine. The production coordinator is who I call for scheduling.
So you can skip the middleman?
I do not make it up. And whatever information I get back is what I relay back if they want to work through me that way.
Okay.
If there are if there's a change that that the customer wants to make to a contract, that goes through me.
Okay.
That goes through the salesperson that you are working with, because they go to production and say, hey, they want to make a change on a window size. Is that window already in stock?
Sure.
And is there a restock? If it's all standard stuff, there's usually not an issue, but sometimes there is, and sometimes one change affects several other items. So all of that has to be looked at if there's a change, and then I do a contract addendum once I know that it's okay to make that change, have the customer sign off on it and get a copy back to me so that they can get back into the queue.
Sure. So there can be changes made, obviously. So you're sitting down with the husband because the wife was working, and came out the whole contract, and then a day later you get a phone call because the wife said that you're not putting that color siding on my house.
Yeah, that happens.
Or my garage. Obviously, that is why a contract addendum or a change to a contract happens. And that is all through you, so you get them the proper numbers and walk them through that, get the proper paperwork in line so no mistakes are made.
Right, and one of the other things, if there's a change of a window or door location, then I do a new work order along with that. It's and it becomes part of the contract, that addendum, as well as a new work order. The old one is kept, but folded in half, stapled, put in a,
So we know
so that
the
we
track.
know where it started,
Yes.
and we know where it's going.
Well, very good. Sounds like you cover a lot of information, and hopefully this segment kind of feeds some information to those potential customers and those a little curious on what happens when you contact Economy Garages and a salesperson gives you a call. It is not a high pressure sales position here. We just need to give our customers the proper information so they can make the right decision, and all of their finance scenarios, all of their yard requirements, what they can and cannot do, they're all different. So we need to give what we call a quote. When Eric comes out to the job site, it really boils down to handing the customer a quote. In other words, we have done our homework. We know what we're doing. We know what our contractors and our in-house crews can do. We are going to leave them with a quote that sticks.
Yeah, and I might add to that our quote is good for a week. It may be good for longer than that, but it's always good for a week without you having to make a decision. The pandemic taught us that pricing is very volatile, so if you like what you see, you got a week, but then I may have to re-look at it at times. Different times of the year, you just never know what, these days what pricing is going to do. But you can always do a price lock for 10% down, and that'll hold it for the rest of the year.
Sure. And even at that, if there's something that you still question, they can change it. And the price isn't going to change unless they change the value of something.
Right. You can. I've had many people sign up on a basic special and then make changes to it afterwards when they go. We want to go to a vinyl maintenance-free siding or steel or whatever it is.
Sure.
Instead of what the base came out at with T111 or who knows, but you can make many kinds of changes. It's after you make the second payment and we start ordering things, that's when it gets a little dicier on making changes. Prior to that, not a big deal.
Okay, well, that's understood. Well, Eric, I don't want to take any more of your time, but we really appreciate your insight and run the company so long and understand what goes on out there and what different questions people ask. That's a heck of a resource to have. So I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.